Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another conversation with. Today, we're going to be talking with T. Graham Brown, which I'm super excited about for a variety of reasons. We're going to get into topics that we haven't touched on as a part of our conversation series, which is social distancing, how concerts return. But a long time ago, long before I fell into the business world, I did some work at Rolling Stone magazine and thought I was going to be a music journalist. So it's fun to get back into the game of interviewing musicians who have had a great career. It's been a while, but hopefully it's like riding a bike. So T. Graham Brown, thank you for giving us some time today. I would love to frame what's going on in your world right now. How has things changed, and what are you thinking about with this craziness of the summer ahead?
Wow. I'm ready to go to work. All our shows were canceled, and I don't know when we're going to be able to go to work. I mean, the government will have to tell us when people can come to shows. I mean, the nature of our business is that people are really close together, in an enclosed place. And I don't know what's going to happen, man. I'm down here in Nashville, Tennessee, and I saw on the news that Nashville was one of the worst hit cities in the nation as far as unemployment goes. Seems like it said 40-something%. Nashville's a tourist town, and if things aren't open, then people don't come. And people are scared to open their restaurants and bars because they don't know how many people they can let in, and they have to have a certain number, a break-even number. So a lot of places here in Nashville are just staying closed because if they open up and do the social distancing thing, they can't gross enough to make a profit. So they just keep it closed. It's kind of a weird deal. As far as I'm concerned, we stay at home pretty much. We get out and go to the grocery store and go to Home Depot or things like that. But mainly we've been staying home. I've done a little bit of remote recording. I've been working on a new album, and we just been emailing it in. It's really something I'd never done before, but it's turned out so far pretty good. Every musician, bass, drums, guitar, keyboards, whatever it is, just email their parts in, and then we mix it down, and then we have it mastered, and it sounds like just like a regular record. This Friday, I'm going in the studio and recutting 10 of my hits acoustically with just an acoustic guitar. I got a friend here in Nashville that has a little studio, and we're going to go in there, and there'll only be 3 of us in there, so it's not like we'll be breathing on each other too much, I guess. But I'm doing things like that. I'm doing some Cameo things. I went on Cameo. People come on there and want me to, say happy birthday to somebody or say hey to their mama or something like that. And we're doing that. We've done a couple of Facebook Live concerts that, I think that we've done 3 of those so far. We've had like 750,000 views on them. So people are watching us. And then when we do a show online, we have a virtual tip jar so we can pay the players. We're just skating like a big dog, man. We don't really know what we're doing. I don't think most people know what they're doing. We're just making it up as we go.
So how big of an impact does this have on younger artists who are less established and really the whole industry, from the artists to the technicians?
Well, it's just killing everybody. Booking agents, bus drivers, bus leasing companies, roadies, rehearsal spaces, musicians, bus drivers. It's just everybody's just been shut down. And that's from the biggest acts to the smallest acts. I mean, a lot of these guys, I'm lucky enough that I've been around long enough that I can work when it's open, when things are. We had the biggest year in like almost 20 years this year scheduled as far as going out and doing shows, and it's all been canceled. It's just kind of a dumb luck for us that we had such a big year planned. But everybody's shut down. It doesn't matter, if it's Blake Shelton or if it's some kid. One of the really bad things is there's so many musicians here in town that depend on going down to Lower Broadway, where most of the honky tonks are, and those guys play for tips. They'll go in, and it depends on how big the crowd is, if they're in a spending mood, whatever. And these guys are just, on a good day, they're scraping by, but I don't know what they're doing now. And I don't know if those guys and girls qualify for unemployment when they work for tips. I don't know how that works, but it's just not good. It's the Nashville downtown that's usually just wide open. Nashville had turned into this Lower Broadway, especially where the majority of the clubs are. It was like Las Vegas or something, man. We'd never seen. I've been here 25 years, and I've never seen Lower Broadway hopping like that. It's unbelievable. So it went from just a ton of people to zip. It's really like a ghost town downtown. It's really strange.
I think everybody that's going through this, whatever business you're in, you're searching for the scaffolding of previous life events that teach you how to navigate this. And if you think through your career, I would imagine that probably the biggest disruption that you had to battle through is, the world of the Napsters that made music free online. That's probably the biggest disruption that's happened to the music industry in your career. And I would love insights on others that, as you lean back and say, you know what, we've been shooken a little bit in the past. Here's how I can get through it. Does being able to lean on previous events in your life, in your career, help you have confidence that eventually there will be some resolution to this?
Well, we got all our stuff. We just did a deal with a big company, and all of our catalog of recordings is going to be re-released next week. And because I know I'm doing some virtual radio tours and things next week. And so they're putting all our stuff online. We've got worked out a deal with a company that y'all would know about. And so they're going to, as far as people being able to download our stuff more efficiently, find our stuff more efficiently, that'll start happening next week. As far, anytime you give music away, the people that make the music just don't get any pay for it. The writers, I got friends that have written, I got one buddy that's written and had over 600 cuts on his songs. That's a lot. That is a ton of people recording your songs. And he said, I don't know how many millions of plays on Spotify and Pandora. And I mean like 100 million, something crazy like that. And those guys only make a couple of $1,000 from those outlandish numbers. So I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy. I've been doing a show with Sirius XM. I have that going on too. I do a show called Livewire. I'm getting ready to record the newest episode of it tomorrow, and I just play live cuts by artists live out from artists live albums. Pretty fun show. But I just been doing everything I can to get our music out. We're just trying to figure out a way to generate income, and we're all kind of copying each other. If somebody comes up with a good idea, we all know about it. And so, like I said, we're just making it up as we go. Like I did the Grand Ole Opry the other night with Jason Crabb and Trace Atkins, and we were the only people in the whole building. It was crazy, man. I mean, I'm used to going to the Grand Ole Opry, which I play there all the time, and there being 4,500 people there. You know, it's always sold out. And it was really strange. You know, they broadcast it for television, and it's really strange when you're sitting up there and getting zero feedback from the audience. And we had a lot of fun. I mean, it was great, but it's just weird.
So within the industry, are you guys hearing or discussing anything about when live events may come back on? I mean, is anyone talking about bookings in 2021 or fourth quarter this year?
Well, I did a video with Trace Atkins the other day outside at this fishing pond. We were fishing, and it was a song about him not going to church and going fishing instead. And we were talking about all this stuff. His manager was there, and we don't know. We don't know. Yeah, some of our dates have been rescheduled for 2021. Trace had a big year too, coming up a tour, but we have no idea. I mean, we're at the mercy of, you know, the politicians that make these decisions. It's not up to us. I mean, we'll go back tomorrow if they'll let a crowd gather, but there's no way to do a show if you're going to only have 1,000 people there, and when the promoter needs 10,000 to break even. You know, it's just, the shows just aren't going to happen till we get the go ahead, and the only people that can give the go ahead are the guys that are running the show, and it's not us.
Obviously, you've had a depth of career that, you know, the struggling musician that has to play the bar for tips has not. But when you think about this, if you take a step back with everything that you've known for your entire career, does this scare you at all? I mean, is this scary? Is this situation scary to you?
Well, it's first of all, I'm a believe in God, and I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, believe that God has got our back, mine and my wife Sheila's back. I don't know what everybody else's relationship with God is like, but I totally believe that everything's going to be okay at my house. I'm not rich. I never got rich. I cut my grass and I pay my house payment like everybody else. I have a light bill. I have groceries, just like every other, just like 99.9% of the people in the United States. I'm a regular guy. I don't drive a Cadillac. You know, we've got an old car. We're very frugal, and no, I'm not really worried about it, but it is spooky. I mean, who knows? I just don't know. And nobody knows when we're going to get the green light to go back to work. I hope it doesn't last a year or something crazy like that. I hope it's this summer sometime that we'll get to go back to work. But guys, your guess is as good as mine. I wish I did know.
You know, it's interesting you bring up God, because so when we speak to other people and even internally, I think this event's going to change a lot of things, right? So, and one of them is, and I'm not being religious with this, but I think a lot of people are spend some time really pausing and saying all the things I'm worried about probably aren't that important, and that there needs to be, for many, a deeper connection with something bigger than themselves, God, or whatever they want to call it. So do you think, I mean, you know, from what you've seen and your life experiences, do you feel like whatever that turn is and whatever we get to as the next thing, that's going to change our society and possibly music?
Well, I think anything that happens will spill over into the way people write songs. I'm sure, you know, as a songwriter, you're influenced by a lot of what goes on around you. You try to keep your antennas up and try to keep your eyes open so you can write songs that people can identify with. But it's great at my house. Sheila and my wife and I have been together for over 40 years, and our lives are great. I mean, she gets to travel with me, and when we're at home, we get along great. She's my best friend, and we haven't had any family problems, like I'm sure there's got to be people out there that have 7 or 8 people at home and probably driving each other crazy. So we don't have to deal with that part of it. But I guess it's going to change people. I think if you're not thinking about going to work every day, maybe your mind will wander over to something that'll help you out. I've had a really bad alcohol and drug problem in my life before, and I firmly believe that God helped me get out of that thing, because I would try to quit over and over, and I just couldn't stay sober till I finally broke down and asked God to help me out. And it was just really funny that I didn't have one craving after that. So I definitely believe in God, and that's what really helps me. I say my prayers every day, and I have since I was a little boy. I grew up in the church. I just kind of drifted away, I think, for a while. But, it's all good in my world as far as that goes. And I guess people are going to love on each other more. I hope so. That'd be a great byproduct of everything if there was some sort of worldwide awakening to, hey, let's quit fussing and fighting all the time. That'd be awesome.
Building off that message, I mean, in any time of crisis, in probably any of our lives, music has been there to help solve some of that challenge, whether it's in the background or it's used for inspiration. Are you excited about some of the messages that you're going to be able to still deliver, even though maybe the concert experience is slightly different for the short term? You can still deliver your art of storytelling through the form of music, as you said, by emailing pieces together. Do you look forward to having some sort of storytelling or inspiration to help people through something like this?
Well, that's what I do anyway. Sheila and I have kind of our own little ministry, is to help people get sober and stay sober. My concerts, I always end my concerts with this song I wrote called "Wine in the Water," and it's about a guy trying to get sobered up. I want people to leave our shows thinking about that. I tell people, I don't beat people over the head with the Bible, but I do have a bully pulpit, and I tell people that there's so much craziness going on in the world, but don't let it shake you up too badly, because God's still on the throne 24/7, and everything's going to be all right. Like I said, I totally believe that everything is going to be all right. I think we're going to get back to get the economy going again, and I think it's going to all turn out okay. This is just a thing that nobody expected, or nobody knows how to navigate. I don't care who it is. I don't care what doctor's saying what, or what politician is saying what. That nobody really knows. We're just feeling our way through this thing. So I guess my message is going to stay pretty much the same. My whole deal, man, is about hope. My whole concert experience, I want people to walk out with a sense of hope and feeling better than they did when they came in. I mean, I do all my hits. I haven't quote unquote gone gospel or anything like that. I put out a gospel album a few years ago, got a Grammy nomination. It was a lot of fun to do. And I'll probably do another gospel album sometime in the future, but I just try to put out positive vibes, man, and hope that people pick up on it.
Nick, so am I correct though? You've done some jingles for McDonald's and for some other brands?
Pardon me. Let me have a sip of coffee.
Sure. So let's get into advertising and marketing.
When I moved to Nashville in 1982 from Athens, Georgia, I got into the songwriter demo singing is a great way to break into this Nashville music business, getting your voice heard on Music Row, getting your voice heard by record companies. It's a good way to start because you'll sing some songwriter's demo, and that demo will get played for producers, record company executives, what have you, and your voice gets passed around. Every time somebody plays that song for somebody, they're hearing your voice. That's what got my first record deal, was that my voice got passed around so much because Vince Gill and me were like the main male singers in town. We kind of worked our way up the demo singing food chain, and our voices got passed around. We got a record deal out of it. Then there was a guy that heard my voice. I kind of got a raspy voice, and this guy heard my voice and asked me if I would do a McDonald's commercial, if I wanted to do one. Well, heck, of course I did. So I flew to New York and did it, and it turned out to be used in the Super Bowl that year. and that got my voice around. So I started doing, I've probably done as many commercials as anybody in history, I guess. I mean, I've been one of the busiest ones in Nashville for sure. I've done, Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, 7-Up, Mountain Dew, Budweiser, Coors, Stroh's, Miller, Burger King, Hardee's, McDonald's, Taco Bell, Ford, Dodge. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. I did that for 7 years. I mean, done a bunch of them, and I had a lot of fun doing those Taco Bell ones because they were mainly they were for television, and I was actually on screen, so I was like the Taco Bell guy, and that was really a ton of fun. They would fly me out to Hollywood, and we would shoot these commercials like movies. It was a lot of fun. I did that for 4 years, and Little Richard died last week, and I was digging through some. Little Richard and I did a couple of Taco Bell commercials together. That's where I first met him. So we dug a couple of those up and put them on our Facebook page. So I've had a lot of fun. Some people think that doing jingles is beneath them. I always thought it was great. And I think I was one of the first ones to be on camera and be the face of the product. A lot of people do it now, but this was 30 years ago. And I guess the first person I remember ever doing it was Loretta Lynn. She did Crisco commercials. I think she was on screen. That would have been in the 60s and 70s. So I wasn't really plowing any new ground, but I think people have come around to the idea of it's okay to sing a jingle,
Well, I mean, I may be in the minority. I happen to think corporate art in terms of logos and jingles and stuff, when done correctly, is a modern art. But so question, and you don't have to answer this. I know it could be annoying. What's your favorite jingle, and what's the jingle that annoyed you the most?
Oh, golly. I've sung some corny ones. I don't know, man. I don't really know how to pin that down. I guess the fun stuff was doing those Taco Bell commercials, because we would always go out to LA. Then we would go out to Joshua Tree National Monument and and they put me in all kind of. I did a wing walking one. I did a driving some hot rod car. I did one on a train. I had a lot of fun doing them, and so any of those, I guess you could say, were good. But I've done some corny ones too. I don't want to say what they are, but believe me, I've done some corny ones.
It seems,
and everything in between. So
it seems as I'm hearing you speak that every form of storytelling that you've done, whether obviously you have your hit songs that you know the audiences want to hear, but I would imagine that you have some sort of pride in every story that you've told through music in some way, as long as you've enjoyed the ride.
Yeah, man. I try to have fun. I try not to do anything that I'm ashamed, that I'll be ashamed of. I mean, there's songs that I've cut in the past I wish I hadn't cut, looking back, that were, you know, again, probably corny, but I try to cut stuff that I like and do things that I enjoy doing, so I won't have any second thoughts about them too much. But I tell you what, I am the world's worst at getting in the studio, and instead of just singing something and being done with it and it being good, I'll sit there and I'll be in the vocal booth or something, and I'll tell the engineer, I'll say, let me do that one more time. Let me do that one more time. And then it just gets ridiculous after a while when you maybe go back and use the first pass you did. So I get kind of picky that way, but you know, I think if you cut stuff you like and do things you like, you'll avoid all that regret. And a lot of times it's not too much of regret. It's just, boy, I sure did look stupid when I did that. But you learn, you know. I mean, heck, I was a kid. A lot of this stuff, I was just a kid. So, you know, well, I think I've gotten smarter. I have, I think my taste is better. I've learned a lot. I've learned so much in the last, I started doing this for a living in 1973. So that's a long time. And I've been very fortunate to be able to, and blessed to be able to do this for a living, because I don't know anything else I'd rather do. But I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about singing. I've learned what not to do. I've learned not to oversing. It's just little nuances that probably nobody else notices, but in my mind, it's glaring differences.
So with those lessons, as you reflect backwards, right? When you're in that zone and you look back on your music artistically, was there like a pattern of, there was a mindset or attitude you had that you saw like in the music that worked for you? Was there a mental state or a mindset that worked, or, you know, you have a fight with the wife and that's the worst time to be singing, or the best?
Oh, no, I don't think that matters really to me. When it's time to sing, you know, we book these sessions and like, hey, it'll be Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning, or I usually sing afternoon. So let's just say, okay, next Wednesday at 3 o'clock, I got to be at the studio to sing. So I don't really ever call them up and say, hey, I'm not in the mood. You know, if I have a sore throat or something, I might have to change the recording date. But you know, I don't think there's been, maybe a couple of times out of hundreds that I've ever called in and said, man, I'm just not feeling it today. I don't do that very often. I just go in and do it because I love singing. I'm ready to sing at any time, basically. I could sing right now, but I'm not. I'm off today.
Not even the worst jingle ever?
I don't know, but you know, I was thinking that the highest award you can win in a jingle is called an Addy, a diamond Addy. I think they have Clios, but there's a thing called an Addy, Addy, and a diamond Addy is like a Grammy kind of. And I've won those, so I've done some great jingles, and I've had a lot of fun. But there's probably a couple of jingles I wish I hadn't done. But the thing of it is, it's so easy, and it's a great way to make a living. I'm pretty fast in the studio, so I mean I can go in and knock something out in an hour, and then every time it's played, you get a residual. So you can go in there and work an hour, and it might pay you for a year or two. It's not a bad way to make some extra money.
Charles, as we take the final spin on final thoughts.
I'm always surprised, right? And so I appreciate the time, and it's interesting to hear the journey, because I think, like Nick pointed out, and I think as you pointed out, it really is all about the journey and those moments along the way. So, I mean, I appreciate the time you spent with us this afternoon.
Oh, God bless you. You're welcome. I was going to tell you, I've had a great life. I've had ups and downs, but I've had a great career. And I tell people that I've had the kind of career, and I came along at the right time, that I've got to work with all the one-name people. I mean, and they actually like me. I've toured with Willie, Waylon, Merle, Dolly, Kenny, Loretta, Conway, Tammy, George, all those one-name people. And it's just been a wonderful, wonderful time. And as I've gotten older, I'm not out there trying to chase a hit now. The pressure's off. I don't have anything left to prove. If a show comes in and we don't want to do it, we'll pass on it. And we kind of can choose our life. And Sheila and I are having more fun now than we've ever had. It's just wonderful. And it really is wonderful. And I'm so thankful for it. I don't take anything for granted. And we're just happy. We're having a great life. And like I said, I get out and cut my grass. I get the weed eater out. I get the power washer out. I get the chainsaw out. I mean, we're just regular people, just like y'all are.
I think that's the key takeaway. I mean, if anybody's watching this and is looking for the inspiration, like, don't take life too seriously. You have the choice to find happiness, and I think that's impactful. And I also appreciate hearing your story. And I think, country music, if there's people that want to try poking fun at it, they say all the songs are about dogs dying or wives leaving them. And maybe now we'll add in and the COVID virus on the other side of this.
Probably so. And I urge anybody that's watching to go to T. Graham Brown, go to our Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, website. It's all under T. Graham Brown. Tune in to our Sirius XM show that's on Prime Country. We have a lot of fun with that. And heck, man, go to the website and buy some music. People like what we're doing. A lot of people, we're not that country really. We're more like R&B country. So it'll be something different, I think. And I urge people and not just our stuff. Go to the artist's website, buy a T-shirt or something. It just helps everybody make a living and get through this.
That's wonderful. We appreciate it. We'll be cheering for you, and we look forward to getting back on the road. And when you swing through our states, we'll be there right there with you.
Well, hey man, I really appreciate you having me, and God bless y'all, and God bless all your listeners, and God bless the United States of America. We're gonna get through it.
T. Graham Brown, thank you so much for your time. Stay safe.
You're welcome. God bless y'all. Thanks.
Thank you.